156 games for Collingwood, 101 for North Melbourne, 748 goals in AFL, VFL football for this champion. And then he buggered off to America and was a punter in the NFL, a groundbreaker over there, and was absolutely superb at it. And what happens, I think Leroy's got this, is we heard a bit of commentary, Fat, when he went over there, and I absolutely loved it because of the way his name was pronounced. Have a listen.
He's got the kicker to beat, and Rocca makes the stop. Nice tackle by the former Australian rules player from down under.
Saverio Rocca. And he joins us. I love this man. Sav, welcome to you.
G'day, boys.
Oh, mate, it's great chatting to you. You were a bloody star for Collingwood and then a great player for North Melbourne. And then you went over to the States. We're going to cover all of this. But let's take you right back to when you first started at Collingwood all those years ago. What are your memories of walking into the famous Vicky Park and wearing that amazing jumper?
Just how quickly it all happened for me. I didn't expect to come or to play football. I was always going to be a shot put and discus thrower, but just how big the club was and how professional it was, and I didn't expect anything like it.
What age did you start playing football as a junior, Sav?
I was 15 when I started playing, and then 15? Started, I was 15. I mean, I played, school and all that sort of stuff, but local footy, I just went down to fill in for a buddy of mine, and under 17s I was.
You're a shot put expert, like you're a...
How good?
I was a shot put.
You're just a chubby kid that can do it.
At Penjarra High School, I still hold
how far did you throw it?
I don't know, about 16 metres.
Well, how far could you go, Sav?
With the heavy ball.
How far did you get with your shot putting?
The distances vary, but it was much more than 16. I mean,
I was only 12.
State level? Were you state champion?
Oh, yeah.
Not you,
Paul. I was Australian champion in the discus under 19s when I was 16. So,
gee. How far did you throw the discus, Sav?
I was about just under 60 metres back then.
Gee, that's a good hoist.
Hey, Sav, obviously took up footy late. Were you good at it straight away?
The thing I could do is, because I stopped growing when I was just on 16, so I was 6'4", and I was 16. And I'd play ruck, and I could outmark everyone, and I could just punch the ball, 20, 30 metres in a ruck, and so I was much bigger and stronger than everyone else at that time, and I think that's what really, played me in good stead when I was young. But I couldn't kick a goal from 20 metres out.
Yeah, well, you certainly learned to do that from a lot further. One of the best kicks ever. What about, you came through the 19s, did you not, Sav? Did you have any success there?
Yeah, I did. We played, I think I played a couple of games in the under-17s and then a year in the under-19s, which was really good under Keith Burns. So it really taught me, how to work hard and do all that sort of stuff back then.
So were you confident when you got going in the AFL and you were really progressing nicely, were you confident that the 50 was always covered for you and that it was more a 55-metre kick where your limit was, maybe even 60?
I was always more comfortable out there, just that I knew that I was going to get a full leg swing through it really was good for me. So, I mean, 50-55 was okay. Even if the man was standing on 50, I'd certainly be comfortable in making it.
So a great career in the AFL, and you're pushing towards the end of your career. Did you ever want to leave Collingwood and go to North Melbourne, or was that just that had to happen for you to continue? What happened there?
Well, I was, heard some things in the paper that I wasn't going to be there. Mick, that was Mick's first year, and then I thought I'd go in and ask Mick if I was a required player the following year, and he thought that I should either retire or look elsewhere. So I offered to take a pay cut and stay at the club, which they said no, they didn't want to happen. So that's when I looked elsewhere.
Hey, Sav, and then of course the NFL experience came your way. Take us through the long version of that and how it happened. You packed up, I think only a week after the AFL season finished. You headed to America.
Down under.
It was not looking good for you. Take us through the first week and then ultimately how you found a spot on a list.
So 2 days after I retired here, I was on a plane to the States to have a workout with Buffalo. I had that workout and they said, they'd send me to NFL Europe, which is the way that I wanted to go, which was a minor league for young and aspiring guys to make it to the NFL. So that's what I wanted to do. I came back here, pinning my hopes on that. Thought I'd give them a call to see if it was still going ahead, and it wasn't. So when I found that out, I went back over to the States to get some coaching and see if I could get a couple more workouts. A friend of mine had an apartment in New York, and we went there for about a month, and I wrote, letters to all NFL teams bar the Australians, which I was able to get, and I got 2 replies back saying that they weren't interested, and no one else replied back. So I thought, let's extend. Well, I thought, we're just coming home, and that was the end of it. My friend over there said, why don't you stay for another 2 weeks and see if anything comes of it. So once we extended our stay, I reached out to Ben Graham, and he said, why don't you contact my manager and see if she can help you out. And then literally 2 days, I did that, and then 2 days before I was supposed to come home again, she got me a workout with the Philadelphia Eagles, and that's when they signed me.
So now you roll up at the Philadelphia Eagles organisation, the car park. You're in the car park. You leave
nice cars.
You leave your wife Rose in the car park. She's sitting in there. She's there for an hour. She doesn't know what's going on. And over the hedge of the fence, all she can see is the height of the balls that you're kicking, but she can't actually see you. Take it from there.
So I'm at the Eagles, and I left Rose and the 2 kids in the car for, I don't know, it would have been an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then, she ends up seeing these balls flying over the hedge, which I found out later, which was me. So she said, from seeing the balls, she thought that I must have had a good session. So when they said they signed me, they said, do I have any family? And I said, yeah. So I went out to get the wife and kids, and they said bring them in, and they signed me up right then and there.
You must have nailed a couple.
So signed up there and then.
Yeah, but
well,
now,
I signed up to a futures contract. To a futures contract.
So no money involved, Sav?
No money involved at that time.
Yeah.
So you would have nailed a couple of barrels, but did you then say to them during that tryout, hey, listen, I've got another kick that you might be interested in called the drop punt?
Well, you go through a process. They start you backed up, and they want to see you drive the ball as far as you can. Then you go to like 20 yards out of the end zone, and you're trying to hit high balls to the boundary line. And then when I get closer in, they want to see you pooch. They call it a pooch punt. And my pooch punt is obviously the drop punt. So I asked them if I can do that, and they said, however you can get the ball there, you just get it there. So they were pretty impressed with the ball, because when it landed on the 5-yard line, most of the times it would bounce backwards and not into the end zone, so they were really happy with that.
Yeah. Look, it's one of the great stories, mate. How did you find playing for both Washington and Philadelphia? What was the environment like, and how does it compare with an AFL environment?
Both really good environments. I really enjoyed both of them. Very professional, although can be an individual sort of sport within a team. Everyone really focuses on themselves and getting themselves right before, I think, putting the team first. So that's where I think the Australian Aussie rules obviously has it over that sport over there.
Must have been bizarre, Sav, sitting in there. You're about to play your first game. You've got the big meeting of the week where all the players are in the one meeting, I would assume. And you're comparing that to what you were doing at, say, Collingwood or North Melbourne in the team meeting there. That must have been bizarre. All of a sudden, here you are in the Eagles' rooms thinking about, geez, I'm about to play my first game, and they're doing all these tactics that I know nothing about.
Well, at that point in time, Brian, I did know the tactics because
probably would have known it.
Brian,
we were like 6 months into preparation. So by that time, it was all okay. When I first got over there, it was like learning Japanese. Yep.
Right.
But by that time, it was okay.
And then you knew Mandarin. Damo's got a question.
Right.
Yeah. I like that, sir. Sure.
Oh, Fat, I shut my eyes. I see this man coming out from the punt road end, centre half forward, inside the centre square on a searching lead, and then he'd just wheel around and go whop and goal post height.
And that was
from 60.
And that was Anthony.
Oh, it's unbelievable. You were one of the greats, Sav. We absolutely loved everything you did for Collingwood and North Melbourne and then over in the States. Well done on all of that and what you continue to do in the game.
Thanks, boys.
Thank you, Sav.
Sav Rocca, champion. Loved that man.